friends, I'm here to do a kind of weekly, bi-weekly check-in, and I'm kind of trying a new format for these. I think I'm going to do it every other Friday because I was trying to sync it up, time it up with the 15th and the last day of the month, or wrapping up the full month. And I'm not great with that. Remembering to do it or having the energy to film. Today is a low energy day, high pain day, but I've got a little trusty cup of coffee. And I felt like, let's talk about these. So far it is, at the time of filming, it is the 13th of November, and I have read 5 books. I've completed 5 books. I'm currently reading 3, and I'll talk a little bit more about those. There's really only 3 of the 5 that I can talk about, because I will have a vlog coming up on Sunday of reading books that Krista at Books and Jams loves. And so far that project is going really well. So let's start off. The first book that I finished was a carryover from October. This was for Halloween, which I know is run by Storm Reads, and my memory, I'll put it down here, the other creator that hosted Halloween. And for that I read Disappearing House by Ali Melaneko, which I first heard about from Leandra at the TBR Zero. I loved this book. It was spookier than I expected, but it's about this girl, Jack, who has a history of cancer, and they don't really mention that. It's this thing you went through. Like, they never say the word, which is kind of an issue between her and her mom. She's 12 in this book, and she is still dealing with kind of the effects of having been the sick girl. She's moved schools, and she is trying to find a place to fit in at this new school, and doesn't have a lot of friends, and has a bit of survivor guilt. Like, she has survived this cancer that typically kids didn't survive. And so her mom is very protective over her, which, I mean, honestly, I can't imagine a mother wouldn't be. But she goes to like this end of the street in her neighborhood where she just likes to think, have her time, her quiet time, to just be by herself. And one day she goes, and there's a house there that wasn't there before. And there was no construction, no anything. And being kids, her and one of her friends and a neighbor, they decide to kind of check it out. And it goes from there. I really enjoyed the writing style. I ended up giving this 5 stars. So highly recommend that. I'm looking at my little reading journal. Then let's talk about a book I read for NetGalley. This is Daughters of Muscadine by Monique Ducton. This is a short story collection, and the stories are all kind of interlinked in some way. And you kind of know that from the synopsis. So it's interesting to figure out how they are connected. And I just really enjoyed these. I gave, most of the stories were like a 3 or 4. And then there were a couple that were 5 stars. I thought I had my list right here, but I do not. There were a couple that were 5 stars. Yeah, there's one is called The Sense of Touch. That was really it was intense. And then Daughter as well, I gave 5 stars to. So overall, what I do with short stories is I rate them each individually, and then I add them up and take an average. And so it was a 4-star. If you like stories that are interwoven, and there's a connection with all of them, dual timelines, there's different, some of them start off in the time of slavery. There's also present day and all timelines in between. Strong relationship building, family connections, intergenerational trauma, connections to different people in the community. It was an incredible short story collection, and it's a very short collection, but one that I highly recommend. And then I finished a nonfiction. It's A Walk in the Woods, Rediscovering America on the Appalachian Trail by Bill Bryson. This is a book that's been on my TBR for a very long time. And I've not read Bill Bryson before, but I've read like short articles that he's written and liked his writing style. I mostly listened to this on audio, and I think that might have been a bit of an impairment. The audiobook was fine, but some of my issues that I had with the book were probably related to how it was narrated. But overall, I thought this was a fine book. It talks about Bill Bryson getting this idea to do the hike and tries to find someone to go with him, and he finds this mess of a friend that he hasn't talked to in forever, who is not in shape, just is not prepared for hiking any kind of length, but it kind of adds a bit of humor to it, even though, it was a true story. It was kind of amazing that this friend agreed to do it with him. And it talks about some other characters they meet on the trail. It talks about getting ready for it. He does a lot of research into the Appalachian Trail and bear attacks. That seems to be one of his main fears, I guess, which makes sense that there's a bear on the cover. I think some of the history was interesting. Some of it got a little bit too deep and in the weeds for me, for just kind of an overview and more looking for their experience walking the trail, and then how they walk the trail in the second half of the book. I didn't quite follow. I didn't really feel like it was set up well. So overall, a 3-star. I I will definitely read Bill Bryson again. I liked the writing style, and again, it may have been a little bit of the narration that kind of gave me just an okay vibe with that. And then I do have 3 books that I'm reading for that vlog I mentioned that'll come out on Sunday. Reading books that Krista at Books and Jams loves. And so far I love them too. So I'm excited for that, for y'all to see that. What I'm currently reading, I'm currently reading this chunker of a book for the vlog for Sunday, which I'll be done by Sunday, and you'll hear my thoughts then. I am also doing a buddy read on Jesus and John Wayne, How White Evangelicals Corrupted a Faith and Fractured a Nation by Kristen Cobes Dumez. This is a very interesting book. Things you didn't know you should know. So far it's an eye-opener for sure. And then I just started another NetGalley book. This is The Swans of Harlem by Karen Valby. 5 Black ballerinas, 50 years of sisterhood, and their reclamation of a groundbreaking history. This is about the first kind of 5 Black ballet dancers when Arthur Mitchell started the dance city of Harlem. There's, a lot has come out about diversity in the arts and in ballet in particular, with Misty Copeland's prominence. And even though the news and the media has kind of latched onto Misty Copeland as she is the first Black ballerina named principal dancer. I think she's at the American City Ballet. However, even Misty points out that there were trailblazers in ballet for Black women and women of color. My sister is a ballet dancer and danced for years with 2 former dancers of the dance city of Harlem. So this was very interesting to me when I read the synopsis. And so far I've read the prologue, and it started in the pandemic when the granddaughter of one of the dancers came home from school and told her mom that they were doing a project on for Black History Month, and the teacher encouraged some of the girls that like to dance to do reports on Misty Copeland, and the little girl was basically like, well, what about grandma? And so that kind of got the daughter into getting these original 5 dancers back together. And it was 2020, so it was the pandemic, so they all got together on Zoom and just recreated the bond and the sisterhood that they had back when they were dancing. So, like I said, just the prologue, I'm very interested in this book and enjoying it so far. Yeah, and I can't tell you about the fiction I'm reading right now. So that's my reading update for the month so far. I will tell you that I've had 2 5-stars, 2 4-stars, and 1 3-star. I've read 2 books for Nonfiction November. I've read 1 NetGalley and done a review, and I've read 1 historical fiction. So that'll be for Historathon. So I think I've actually even done all of the readathons I wanted to do as well. So that's kind of cool. I hope you're doing well. Let me know in the comments below what you are reading this month. Any good reads that you have come across, please share in the comments. I really enjoy our conversations there. If you would like to subscribe, and my vlog is coming out on Sunday. And I am going to be continuing my series on my nonfiction TBR, my book stacks, trying to unhaul some of them because I have a lot of nonfiction, more than I even realized. I will link below my most recent nonfiction book stack. And yeah, if you'd like to follow that series as well, just hit subscribe. And I'll see you soon. Bye.